Invirameddle Art Projects. Old Leonard, the famous sculptor, likes to sit on his porch looking out at the faraway mountains and the Darwoon Hills closer by. One of these hills is called the Sleeping Princess because it looks like the profile of a beautiful lady lying down, her hair all streaming behind her head, a little smile on her lips. She's even got a very nice bosom made out of the hill next door. Only problem is, the poor princess has a very prominent chin with a big lump on it and a wart on a bridge of her nose. Leonard has mentioned he'd like to fix up the princess' nose, make it less lumpy. Not such a crazy idea for a rock sculptor to want to fix up a big piece of rock on a mountain. One year, for the big spring party, we decide to fix up Princess' nose. We call it the world's biggest nose job. We collect tools ahead of time and walkie-talkies. At party, there's a big group of people who want to help with nose job. Everybody huff and puffs up a sleeping princess, carrying crowbars, picks, and shovels, and a bunch of beer. Leonard sits on his porch with a walkie-talkie, and Simon has a other walkie-talkie on top of the princess, about a mile away. Simon's wearing a bright-colored t-shirt so Leonard can look through binoculars, see him standing on top of the princess' profile. Leonard says whether the spot where Simon's standing needs to be higher or lower. People start prying away rocks with crowbar and heaping them up somewhere else. We're popping out big rocks in Princess' nose to remove the wart, breaking up rocks on her chin to make it less sticking out, prying lump off a chin. Rocks are rolling down the mountain. People are in a way below. People on a top yelling, "Rock, rock, watch out!" But we get it done without anybody get hurt, even with all a joking, laughing, and drinking beer. Leonard says, "Okay, looks good" on Walker Talker, so we collect the tools and empty beer cans and hike back to town. We gather on Leonard's porch to admire a big art project. No question, Princess looks a whole lot better. No wart on nose, no lumpy sticking out chin. Whole profile looks more realistic. Now, when we point out mountain to visitors, say, "That's the Sleeping Princess," it's much easier to see what are we talking about. Nose job was such a big success that we decide next year for party to make a geoglyph, which is a big drawing on a desert floor made out of rocks. We're going to make a big fish with feet, the so-called Darwoon fish that people put on a bumper stickers. We pick out a little bare hill a couple of miles up the road out of town, across from the old mine that'll be good location for Darwoon fish. Nearby is a place with lots of big black rocks, perfect for make a picture on a side of a hill. We figure fish will be clearly visible when you drive into town. At a party, there's a couple dozen people helping with fish project. Some people load black rocks into pickup trucks, unload them over at Fish Hill. Other people are laying out rocks to make the fish. A few hours later, fish is done. We step back toward the road and admire it. Fish geoglyph becomes another tourist attraction in Darwoon. We tell well-behaved visitors, be sure to notice the Darwoon fish on your way out of town. Some people may think it's a reference to ovulation, making fun of Jesus fish, but it's just a nice piece of art and a little joke about name of town, which is really named after Rasmus Darwoon Franch, a mine explorer who actually never even come to Darwoon. There's one person who gets to look at Darwoon fish every single day, and that's Jesse, who's caretaking at the mine. Even though he has a perfectly good place to live in a little bread truck up a wash at a bottom edge of town, Jesse's job requires him to live in a big fancy house on top a hill at the mine. Used to be the mine superintendent's house. Unfortunately, Jesse don't particularly like the Darwoon fish. Not because he's a Jesus freak, but because he's not used to see anything on that little hill, which now has a fish with feet on it every time he looks out a window. Well, too bad, we say. It's a piece of art, very good addition to Darwoon scenery. One day, a couple of years after the big fish project, I'm driving out of town, looking over to admire fish, and it looks kind of funny. I get out and walk over, take a closer look. It's not a fish anymore. The rocks are thrown all around. What's left looks more like a mushroom. I suspect right away that it's Jesse who mussed up the fish, but can't be sure, so I ask Clay to go and talk to him. Turns out, as I guessed, that Jesse has vandalized the fish. Just couldn't stand looking at it anymore, he's a tell Clay. But he seems sort of sorry, since he knows we put a lot of work into getting the rocks, making them into a geoglyph. After a bit of negotiation, Jesse finally says, okay, we can go ahead, fix up the fish once again, and he'll just live with it. No more bad feelings. At that year's party, a bunch of people fix up the fish, even make a few improvements. A great big oi made out of a truck hubcap, straighten out legs and tail, better than before. Fish looks much nicer now. Maybe Jesse will appreciate it. Darwoon Fish is still a tourist attraction today, but more than that, it's become somewhat of a local shrine. When my music partner Mickey died, we scattered some of his ashes inside the fish, had a bagpipe player, and a little ceremony there. But when Jesse died a few years earlier, nobody suggested to scatter his ashes on a fish. Darwoon Fish isn't just a little inside joke anymore. In a far-away future, there will be stories about local natives long ago who made spiritual rock art, sacred fish geoglyph, alongside the ancient trail into Darwoon.